Hi, welcome back to The Budget Mindset. If you're new here, hi, I'm Sandy. I'm the face behind The Budget Mindset. So today I wanted to talk about how to budget. A lot of people don't know what a budget is and they just make it more complicated than it actually needs to be. But a budget, put simply, is a spending plan to tell your money where to go. A simple budget would be income minus expenses equals leftover. So I wanted to give you guys some tips on how you can budget, and hopefully you do find these helpful. I think the first thing you need to do is actually to know your why. Do you want to start budgeting because you want to start paying off debt, because you want to be debt free? Or is it because you have no idea where your money is going and it feels out of control and you want to regain control of your money? Is it because you want to change your family tree and you want to provide a better life for your kids? Whatever it is that is motivating you to budget or inspiring you to budget, you really need to figure that out. So that's really the first thing you need to know before you even think about budgeting, is to figure out your why. Why do you want to budget? Why do you want to gain control of your money? So once you know your why, you then need to know your goals. What is it that you want budgeting to help you achieve? Is it to pay off £5,000 worth of debt? Is it to finally get rid of your overdrafts? Is it save for a house deposit? Is it to buy a family car? Once you know your why, and then you have a goal, as in the purpose of why you are budgeting, then you've kind of set the foundations right. So I think it's really important to know your why and have a goal that you want to focus on. Once you've done that, you really need to know, what is my current financial situation? And the best way that you can do that is through tracking your expenses. This is something that many people don't like to do because it can really be a reality check when you look at your expenses and you finally, sit down and realize, oh, we are in trouble here, or I'm in trouble here. So this can be an actual scary moment, but I think it is really liberating when you finally know your numbers. So you can do it two ways. You can look through the past 3 months of bank statements. Then you can get some highlighters. I would say maybe get 5 highlighters, and then you can see how much income you have coming in, what bills you've paid out. You can see where you spent money on non-essential. So other than bills, what else have you spent your money on? And then you can also see how much savings you've saved. Keep them to those 4 categories: your income, your bills, your spending, and savings, and just see how much money has been coming in and how much money has been going out. And so you can then get a good kind of indication of your spending. That's one way to do it. Another way to do it would be just to do it in real time. And I think that is like the best way you can do it, by actually looking at what you are currently spending. And you do that by tracking your expenses in real time. Take the current month that you're in and start tracking that way. And then you can see exactly how much money you have coming in, how much money you have going out, and if you have money saved. Usually when people do this, it can be a real eye-opener. I know when I did this, it really was. First month that I tracked my spending, I discovered that I had spent over £730 on groceries and eating out. And I'm on a low income. So I was completely utterly shocked the fact that I was spending that much, and I was going to the supermarket about 4 times in a week. Now I have 4 kids, so I don't know if I was going once per child, but it was just, I was so surprised. I just was not aware of where my money was going. So I think tracking your money in real time will give you such an awareness and will prepare you so you can then budget better if you know how much money you have coming in and how much money you have going out. The best way I see to budget is to first cover your basics. Basics are your fixed expenses. Fixed expenses are regular payments that you have to make that don't really change month to month. They can vary slightly, but it's payments that you have to make regularly. So I'm talking about your rent, your mortgage, council tax, if you have a car, your car insurance, or if you have subscriptions, it's your Netflix, your Amazon. So it's just payments that have to be made. You can reduce your fixed expenses. You can get rid of Amazon, you can get rid of your Sky, your cable, you can change suppliers and get cheaper internet. You know, there are things you can do. You can get rid of your car like I did, and and therefore you don't have, you know, car insurance. There are ways you can reduce your fixed expenses, but once you've reduced them, those expenses are just things that have to get paid. And so it's really important to just cover those first and make sure that you've got a roof over your head. If you have a car, you are driving legally, make sure that you've got the lights on. It's just making sure to cover your basics. Once you know your income, you then take away your fixed expenses, and then that leaves you with variable expenses. Variable expenses are expenses that you have a little bit more control over. They are things like groceries, eating out, clothes, beauty, any other kind of expense that you have a little bit more control over. Some people put groceries into fixed expenses. I personally don't, because I know from experience as a mum of 4, I can finesse a grocery budget. I cannot finesse a bill. Bills need to get paid. And I've had problems in the past when I haven't paid my bills, you know. So I really prioritize paying my bills. Then I know I can work on my variable expenses and get them down if I need to. Once you've covered your fixed expenses, then whatever's left over, you put towards your variable expenses, and then whatever is left over there, it can be put towards extra priorities. So what are your priorities? Is it to pay off debt? Is it to save for an emergency fund? If you don't know what an emergency fund is, an emergency fund is a rainy day fund you save for things that you don't know are going to come up, but you kind of know something is going to come up, but you just don't know what. That's kind of a priority, to save for emergency fund. If you have any leftovers, leave it in the bank account and it can act as a buffer in your account, or if you want, you can put it towards extra priorities that you have. To me, a budget is a balancing act. It really is an act between balancing your income and expenses and just, you know, trying to get that balance. You can break your expenses down further into categories. I wouldn't do too many categories to start with. You may just want to start with 5 categories. You may want to do bills, spending, food, debt, and then maybe transportation. You can also include a miscellaneous category. It's easier to split those expenses into different categories, because then you can see where your money is going in terms of categories, which category is taking more money. So that's why it's easier to split your budget into categories. Some people just keep it as income, bills, spending, and then savings. The next thing you need to do is decide how you are going to budget. Are you going to budget using pen and paper? Are you going to budget using a spreadsheet, or are you going to budget using an app? Everyone prefers different budgeting methods. For me, I personally prefer pen to paper, just because I feel when I put pen to paper, I have more of an awareness of where my money is going. I am a spreadsheet lover. I have a computing degree. I've been using Excel since I was young, so I'm definitely for using spreadsheets, but what I found is pen and paper works for me. So you need to decide which method you are going to use and just pick whichever method works best for you. Some people prefer to use an app, and so they don't have to track everything. I prefer pen and paper, so I do manually track where every single thing goes. It really doesn't matter as long as you know where your money is going. Once you decided what type of method you're going to use to budget, you need to decide when you're going to budget. Are you going to budget weekly, monthly, bi-weekly, every time you earn? I budget per pay, so I budget every time I earn. It's easier for me to actually budget money that I have in the bank at that time when payday hits. So I do a budget every single time I get paid. I find that easier because I'm then dealing with real money that I have in the bank. But you might decide to do a monthly budget, you might decide to do a bi-weekly budget. Everybody's different. There are different budgeting methods. There is the 50-30-20, where it says 50% of your money should go towards your needs, 30% should go towards your wants, and then 20% towards savings. Other people like to do other percentage budgets such as 80-20 or a 70-30. There's another budgeting method called the zero-based budget. That is personally what I use, and that just means that all your income that you've had come in, you've allocated to go somewhere. So that just means your income minus your expenses equals 0 money left over. So every single penny has been allocated. That is the method that I like to use. There is also something known as cash envelope budgeting. That just means that you use cash for all your spending and expenses. So once you know what method you're going to use to budget, when you're going to budget, then I think you've kind of got the basics. It really is just a question of balancing. That's what budgeting is. Sometimes you need to look at your expenses and take some expenses out. Sometimes you will look at your variable spending and go, this month I can't spend this much. I can only spend this amount. Sometimes you need to look at your money and go, okay, I can't prioritize this right now, but I can prioritize something else. So budgeting is really just about finding a balance between the income that you have and the needs and expenses that you have going out. That's really the gist of budgeting. To make budgeting a success, I think it's really important to make it fun. I love using highlighters, color. I love using trackers. You can also use stickers, erasable pens, and just make it fun. There's so many things you can do to make budgeting fun. You do need to have a look at your budget frequently. I look at my budget every single day. I think once you're able to make it fun and make it a habit, you're more likely to enjoy it and actually enjoy the budgeting process. So hopefully these tips helped you out. If you have your own tips on how you can budget and make it a success, then please comment them down below. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you on my next video. Bye.